Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Imagine this. A couple, freshly engaged and exploring Paris, decide to meet up with an old friend and his girlfriend, both of whom are steeped in the world of ancient history and art. As they wander from one historic section to another, their passionate discussions about the artifacts catch the attention of a stressed-out mom and her two curious kids, mistaking them for tour guides. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. I'm not a tour guide. About 11 years ago, my wife and I got engaged. My mother-in-law decided to gift us with an expenses-covered trip to Paris as an engagement gift, so we found ourselves spending a week in Paris enjoying the city. Also, we met an old friend. My friend, nicknamed Indy, was doing a postgraduate degree in Paris. We met a couple of nights and we scheduled to visit the Louvre together. Next day, we met outside the Louvre. Along with Indy was his girlfriend. She was a history of arts major, slightly important for later, from Norway. Indy was an archaeology postgrad. He has since his preteen years an obsession with ancient history, important for the story, also relevant to story. My wife likes to read a lot of history books. We start our tour in the Louvre from the Roman section with Indy taking the role of explaining what we were seeing. Now, because of his girlfriend, we all speak English. We pass the Roman section, followed by the Greek, stopping on the Aphrodite of Milos. In that section, Indy really took off with his explaining, not only with Aphrodite, but with the Muses as well. Statues of them in the same section. Then up the stairs to take pics of Nike and onwards to the Renaissance section. On the way towards the next section, we stopped in a room that had models of some of the wonders of the ancient world. One of them was a model of the Temple of Zeus in Olympia and the giant statue of Zeus made from ivory and gold. Indy stops to explain this to his girlfriend, and my wife decides to chip in about cheating in original Olympic Games, started a lighthearted banter. They're talking in our native language, and I'm trying to translate to Indy's girlfriend. And then it happened. Me equals me, I equals Indy, SM equals stressed mom, K1 plus K2 equals amazed kid 1 and 2. SM, excuse me, what's the guy talking about? I turn around and see a woman in her 30s and two boys, the older around 8 or 9 years old and the younger around 6 or 7. Everything on her screams tourist. She wears a sundress, has a small backpack, with supplies for the children we found out later, a guide to the Louvre book, and a look of stress on her face. My wife and I have that look occasionally now. It's common on parents. Me. They're talking about cheating on the ancient Olympics. K1, wow, they used to cheat back then? The younger one is glued to the model. K2, who's that? He asked, pointing at the statue. That caught Indy's attention. I, that's Zeus, the leader of the Greek gods. K2, wow. K1, where's Mona Lisa? I, down this corridor, you can't miss it. K1, cool, can you tell us the story for that? An awkward pause from everyone. SM, a bit embarrassed. You're not a tour guide, are you? I, no madam, I'm not. A sigh came out SM, she grabbed her book tighter. SM, I'm sorry, you were speaking with such authority and the book is so unhelpful, we kind of thought, you know. I, it's all right, I hope I helped. In fact, we're going to visit the next section if you want to follow, but I won't do the talking. Hannah, his girlfriend, is more apt in this period than I. Hannah waved, smiling. K1, can we go with them, Mom, please? She looked to each of us, trying to decide. SM, if it's not too much trouble. No trouble at all, both Indy and Hannah replied. K1 plus 2, yeah! SM, but you have to be quiet and listen to the nice people. K1 and K2, yes, Mom. They followed us the rest of the day at the Louvre with either Indy or Hannah answering the kids' questions. It was lovely to see the look of amazement on their faces as we walked through the museum. The mother told us her husband was invited in a week-long convention in Paris from his company and brought them along for vacations. She insisted to buy us lunch, which we politely declined. We settled for coffee in one of the small cafes outside of the Louvre. Her husband joined us later on. The kids asked a million questions about the exhibits during our coffee, but their true delight was that they discovered Hannah was from a country that had Vikings. All in all, a nice stroll in the Louvre. This was far too wholesome. I'm used to these stories having wild Karens galore. I think I need to go read some of those stories, as this one feels too wholesome. And our second story. Don't want me to cold transfer irate customers to the manager? Okay then. I was a technician working in a lab. My job was to repair car parts for this third-party repair company. The company made such monumentally stupid decisions in a very short span that over 50% of the call center all quit within 3 days of each other. So the company started dragging employees from other departments kicking and screaming into the call center. Every day I'd walk in and ask the building manager, "What's up today? Am I doing my job or am I answering phones?" And he'd sigh and say, "Answering phones." Well, I quickly learned what made a lot of the call center quit. You see, at this company, we had a really good warranty policy, lifetime warranty on the part, regardless of who owns it at any given time. If it has our sticker on it and the sticker hasn't been defaced, we will service it for free. If you aren't happy with the quality, you can ask for a refund if you were the original person who sent it in for work in the first place. Well, it turned out we were losing money because when stuff would come in for warranty repair, some of the salespeople would grab it, rip our sticker off, throw it in the junk pile, and call the customer saying we couldn't fix it, but we have a perfectly good one here that they can sell at a discount. They did this so much that customers started just asking for refunds instead. We got so many refund requests that the building manager told the call center that we would not be honoring the warranty anymore, but not to tell the customers that. Lead them on. When they ask for a refund, tell them it's being processed and will take up to 6 weeks. 6 weeks from now, when they call asking where their refund was, tell them it was in the wrong stack of paperwork or there was an error at the bank, whatever excuse you can think of, and tell them it'll be another 6 weeks. Keep doing this until they stop calling. Well, the call center revolted. More than half quit. When I found out this is what happened, I told them they don't want me on the phones because I will not lie to the customers. Building manager said, "Tough crap. Till they can hire more people for phones, I'm stuck there." So when someone called, PO'd that they haven't received their refund, I profusely apologized, let them know I'm sure there's a good explanation, let me get you a manager, and I could transfer them to the building manager. He'd come back to his desk, find like 30 people on hold in his queue. He got pissed, told me to stop cold transferring people, so I stopped cold transferring people. Every 3 or 4 minutes, I'd let a new customer know I can get them the manager. I'd transfer them, get up, walk over to the manager's office, and tell the manager, "Hey, so-and-so from X company's on your line. Pissed off that you're refusing to give them a refund. Have fun." Eventually, I got pulled into a meeting with him and the CEO, and was told in no uncertain terms that if I continued to do so, I would be fired. I reminded them that the only reason this is happening in the first place is because A, they came up with this crappy plan in the first place, B, they're making me answer phones instead of doing my job, and C, they can't keep anyone because whenever they hired someone new, the rest of us would fill them in on what's happening, and they would subsequently quit after their first day. In the end, I found a better job and quit that hellhole, and on my last day filed a complaint with OSHA, filling them in on all the illegal, dangerous crap they'd made us do in the lab. Update. How did the OSHA inspection go? $24,000 fine, weekly follow-up inspections until they resolved all the issues, continued $10,000 a month fine until everything was fixed. When I got the paperwork back from the results of the complaint I filed, they had to ship it in a manila envelope as there were so many violations. Yeah, that was kind of a really stupid thing for them to tell the call center to do, rather than actually go after the problem people themselves. That policy's already bad enough without blatantly protecting one group that deserved it at the expense of another that did not. And our last story. HOA filed a lien on our home. My wife and I received a notice of our HOA filing a lien against us and our house for overdue payments, threatening to foreclose on our home if we don't pay them 2.5 years worth of back pay from when we first bought our place. The thing is, we've been paying the HOA monthly since we moved here. They've sent us a bill for $96 every month, and we're always prompt with our payments. Then, out of nowhere, we got this notice yesterday saying we owe them an additional $600 plus $350 for legal fees. I called the legal team they're using and found out that apparently we're supposed to be paying 2 HOAs. The one we've been paying regularly is the smaller, more local HOA, and there's a larger master HOA that also expects payment from us, roughly $19 to $20 per month, Except we've never heard of this parent company. They've never contacted us once, let alone to send us a bill of any kind. All HOA contact we've ever had was with the smaller local company that we're familiar with. So this lien/legal notice is literally the first we've ever heard of these people or any financial responsibility we have to them. As far as we've been aware, for the last 2+ years, we were completely square on our homeowner fees. We were worried it might be a scam, so we checked with our neighbors and they confirmed it. There's definitely a second HOA. Not only that, they went through a nearly identical situation, minus the lien, a few months back and implied that several others in our neighborhood have had to deal with this very thing. Obviously, we're happy to pay any bills moving forward, provided they ever actually send us a bill for once, but we're in no position to suddenly cough up $600 back pay for a fee that we didn't even know existed 2 days ago. At the very least, even if they force us to pay the $600, I would hope we can convince them to cover their own legal fees. After all, if they had ever sent us correspondence of any kind, a letter, an email, a phone call, anything to let us know they existed and expected payment, they never would have needed to get a lawyer involved in the first place. I'm in the process of creating a written statement contesting the fees and don't want to be so bold that I shoot myself in the foot, but the whole thing seems genuinely preposterous to me. We always try to stay on top of our bills, and since we didn't know the second HOA even existed, I honestly don't know what we could have done differently to avoid this situation. Update. Figuring we couldn't do it ourselves, we went to a lawyer. To our relief, they agreed to drop the back pay and the legal fees. They promised to do better at communicating in the future, starting with actual bills and a complete list of who needs to pay them. Thank goodness you did your homework and found out that this wasn't some kind of scam. It's wild to think that your neighbors went through something similar. It sounds like this master HOA has some serious communication issues if nobody in the neighborhood even knew they existed. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.